Lebanon was so multi-faith and multicultural. So we had Druze, Muslims, Christians, Protestant. The majority were Christians. We were over almost 70% Christians when we got our independence in the 40s. But because of the way Muslims multiply, you know, with the multiple wives and multiple kids, in 30 years, they became the majority. And when we got our independence from France and Lebanon, because we are, you know, Judeo-Christians, you know, come from Judeo-Christian culture, we're very fair. So we made sure we divided the government to make sure that Muslims have representation. So the president of the country was Christian, the prime minister was a Muslim, the prime minister, you know, the secretary of state. We had different assignments for different religions. But the Muslims became the majority. And once they became the majority, they were no longer tolerant of the people who took them in and accepted them and included them in the country. They felt they were not a part of the country. They felt they were a part of the Islamic Ummah or the Islamic nation. So when they turned against their brethren Christians who lived in the same country, and Jews, but specifically the Christians, they began massacring us in large numbers because they thought we are in power now and therefore we set the rules on how things should be. And that's really what drove the country into war.
But in Lebanon in particular, I remember it happening. We could see these people being wiped out and the world did nothing about it. And we'd be very, very foolish in Western Europe not to think that the same thing will happen to us.
This revolution, it's not just about overthrowing the Islamic dictatorship, it's about getting rid of Islam and throwing it out of our country, basically, because we're Iranian, we're not Arab. We have a completely different culture, a completely different civilization. Just like the Jewish civilization, we're indigenous to the land of Iran, and the history of Jews and Iranians goes back thousands of years before Islam was invented.
So why do you think the regime has tried so hard to erase the memory of Cyrus and the Persian people in terms of the relationship with the Jewish people?
Because the Islamic regime is anti-Iranian. The Islamic regime is an occupying force, and they have tried to erase our cultural identity. They have tried to erase our roots. They have basically tried to make us forget about who we are as Iranians. I mean, even the flag of the Islamic Republic, it says Allahu Akbar, which is Arabic. We're Iranian, we speak Persian, and yet, the flag of the occupiers is in Arabic writing. So the reason that they've tried to erase our identity, erase, the memory of Cyrus the Great, is because that's another way for them to try and conquer us. And that's why, as Iranians, we have actually, we're incredibly nationalistic. We have learned about our history even more. And we're not going to let them erase our identity, because that's one of the ways that we're fighting back, is by reclaiming our Iranian identity.
Tragically, the Taliban regime destroyed the statues in 2001.
Because we're done with Islam. We don't think Islam is a good religion. We're just sick of it. And from my understanding, from a lot of Iranian Christians who have converted from Islam to Christianity, what they tell me is that Christianity offers love, peace, and hope, whereas Islam is more about hatred and death. So that's why many Iranians are secretly converting to Christianity, although they still have to identify as Muslim, because under Sharia law, apostasy is punishable by death, and many Christian converts have been jailed and executed for leaving Islam.
Apparently, America's newest kink is Sharia law. Okay, I'm game. Let's review what Sharia criminal law codes actually include, since some of you are out there defending it like it's a trendy new pronoun. Leaving the religion? Well, the penalty is death. But sure, remind me again how Christians and Jews are the scary ones. Criticizing the Prophet or the Quran? Penalty is death. Imagine, executed for leaving a bad Amazon review. Amputation for theft, so maybe hold off on getting that manicure. Stoning for adultery, well, there goes most of our elected leaders. 100 lashes for premarital sex. Hope that doesn't mess with your polycule. Flogging for public drinking. Goodbye, Kamala Harris. Women legally downgraded to NPCs. But don't worry, they only mean people who identify as women. Whatever that means. LGB folks, yeah, we're not surviving that storyline. And the TQ pluses, I'll see you in hell. Rejecting Islam isn't racism. It's protecting women. It's protection for LGBs and TQ pluses. It's freedom of religion. It's saying no to inhumane criminal penalties. It's preserving everything that makes America great. So when I say this evil doesn't belong here, it's not out of hatred. It's out of appreciation for the freedom we inherited and consideration for the people who suffer without it. What I don't get is why some of you are defending what seems so obviously evil and counterproductive to a healthy society.
I was arrested myself as a 12-year-old for not wearing my hijab, for not obeying their rules. Everybody's been through it, everybody's seen it. They're murderous, they don't care about us, and all they want is their power and Islam to take over the whole world.
What is the treatment for the woman over there?
The treatment is death, punishment, and beatings and rape and everything else that you hear in the books and novels that you think are so horrendous is happening in Iran.
You know, I would say as well, maybe reach out to your elected government officials and ask them to stand with the Iranian people, ask them to put out statements declaring that the Islamic dictatorship is illegitimate, and, you know, recognize that His Royal Highness King Reza Pahlavi, he is the legitimate opposition leader. I think that would go a long way to helping the Iranian people.
Here's why Muslims suck. That was us.
On Sunday, 6 members of another family attacked 3 churches in Surabaya. The couple's 2 teenage sons blew themselves up at another church. Police say the family had joined ISIL in Syria and had traveled back to Indonesia in 2017.
That was us.
To see a young child with a placard thrust in his hand calling for the beheading of a person is simply something I cannot comprehend.
That was us. That was us.
First and most and last goal is to re-establish that Khilafah.
That was us.
Would you, as a Muslim woman, marry a Christian?
No, we can't.
Okay, you can't.
It's haram.
That was us. That was us.
How long have the Islamic world been persecuting Christians?
When we conquered Jerusalem twice, Christians weren't massacred. When you lot did it, you flooded the whole city with blood.
The correct answer, the correct answer was 1,400 years.
No one got killed. It was a peaceful
1,400 years. 1,400 years. That's how long Muslims and Muslim societies have been persecuting Christians.
No, that's not true.
Who was the first Muslims? Who was the first Muslim to ever persecute Christians? Who was the first Muslim to ever persecute Christians?
Christians were persecuting Christians.
The correct answer is Muhammad. That was the correct answer.
That's not true.
That was us.
There is insecurity in their neighborhoods. That is why they are here. And they don't want to go back to their neighborhoods because if they go back, they will be killed by the Muslims. Most of them are Christians.
That was us.
Take a look at this video. Mike Davis tweeted, "There is zero chance of coexistence. We must conquer and expel Islamists before they conquer and mass." Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. And one of the reasons why he stated this is because of this attached video, which states that UNRWA students have, well, said this.
عمل عمليات الداعس عمليات الداعس عمليات الطعن والاشتباك المسلح في المخيمات.
ايش اكيد هدول العمليات ترفع الراس ولفلسطين. العمليات هاي تاعت الداعس والسكاكين هاي اشي بيرفع الراس لفلسطين.
اذا بدك بطلع بستشهد عادي. أنا إن شاء الله أساعد الشباب وإن شاء الله أصير مقاوم بالمستقبل مع الدولة الإسلامية.
Yeah, if that is how their children are thinking, how do you think their adults are thinking? And their basis for this belief is found within their Quran, where it states that Christians and Jews are apparently the worst of all creatures.